are. Welcome. Oh, I'm so glad you're here. I love having guests at my new house. Well, what do you think? It is rather imposing, is it not? It cost over $1,500 to build. My parents' house only cost $750. See, my father promised to build us a home as a wedding present, and I am so thrilled at how it turned out. Wow, I guess I really am grown up now, aren't I? Oh my, I suppose I should introduce myself. I am Olive Kinsman. You'll have to excuse me as I haven't been married that long. I am the wife of Freddie Kinsman. Excuse me, Mr. Frederick Kinsman. He hates it when I call him Freddie. Says it's not dignified. Oh, but he's just so... What I mean to say is that he is an amiable and serious businessman. Though rather a bit too serious, as I always say. Oh, but I do love my Freddie dearly. I always have. I've known him forever. You see, Freddie is my cousin. His mother, Rebecca, and my father, General Simon Perkins, are brother and sister. Freddie's father died when Freddie was just 6 years old. And it was real hard on him losing his father at such a young age, so he came to live with us for a little bit. And naturally, him and my father became really close. And then, of course, so did we. I knew I was going to marry him when I was just a little girl. Even when he was always ordering me about just because he was 2 years older than me and thought he knew everything. I let him get away with it, of course, because even then he was just so cute. Anyway, now we are married and in a home of our own. I could not wait to start having babies here. I mean, look at it. Is it not the perfect place to raise a large family in? Freddie and I were wed on February 1st of 1832. I think I got in the family way right on our wedding night. Oh, Freddie was thrilled. He longed to be a father, I think mostly because he didn't have one when he was growing up. So he was most eager to have children. We had little Nancy first. We were still living with my mother and father as the house was still being built. She was born in November of 1832 and died just after the new year. She was so small and sickly. I knew when she was born that we weren't going to have much time with her. She didn't stand a chance. Happens to a lot of women these days, I'm told. But everyone encouraged me to put my energy into the new house. I worked hard to do so, though I must admit that Nancy was never far from my mind. But the doctor said that I was young and healthy and bound to be having a baby a year just like every other young woman knew. I believed him and I took his suggestions. I was with child again when the house was done and had little Tommy just after we moved in. A boy! Oh, Freddie was ecstatic! I mean, a male heir to the Kinsman line? Little Tommy was such a sweet child. He hardly ever cried, but smiled and cooed and had the loveliest shock of dark hair just here that always seemed to stick out no matter what Nurse and I would do to smooth it down. Everyone loved Tommy. Father and Freddie would stand over his crib for hours and hours planning the future. Tommy's future. I had to remind them both frequently during these discussions to put their cigars away as babies don't do well in the presence of smoke. Little Tommy only lived for 16 months. I was devastated, as you may imagine. I pushed to have another baby, but the doctor suggested that I rest for a while as my health had slipped somewhat after Tommy. But I needed to be in the family way again, don't you see? I needed to have that baby a year that the doctor promised me. A promise made an awfully long time ago to someone who seemed so much younger than myself. But the fates were kind, and we had little Olive the following September. Freddie used to laugh and say that not only was she named for me, but that she looked exactly like me. She looked like me. She yelled like my father. She yelled a lot. I would spend hours and hours trying to comfort her, but there was just no comfort to be had for that little one. Freddie became concerned and said that I was looking pale and drawn, staying up at all hours with Olive. Why couldn't he see that it didn't matter about me? I just cared about my little girl. She died 10 months later on a hot July day. I took to my bed. There was no consoling me then either. My health went downhill rapidly, and I did not care if I lived or died. The doctor said that I had consumption. Maybe, but I think it was a broken heart. I took my last breath on September 13th, just 3 days after what would have been Olive's first birthday. Frederick remarried 2 years later to a woman named Cornelia Pease. She was a lovely woman. They went on to have 5 healthy boys together. I knew that this would be the perfect place to raise a large family. And they did. They made some renovations, but they stayed here for the rest of their lives. I like what they did to the place. And I'm glad that they were happy.